Hello everyone and welcome back to the YouTube channel of Gamaka AI. In today's video, I will show you how to build a fully interactive telecom customer churn dashboard, a dashboard which will help you identify why customers are leaving, which cities have the highest churn and what patterns are hiding inside your data. And the best part is we'll build everything step by step using Excel only. Here is the final dashboard that we will be creating today, and you will learn how to build the key metrics as like total customers, total churn, churn rate, and how many customers are joining. We'll also try to build an interactive slicers along with different type of visuals. Everything will update instantly with a single click. Now, let us look at the problem statement of this project. So, the goal of this project is simple. A telecom company wants to understand why customers churn, why customers are churning, that is, why they are leaving, which segments are at the most risk, and how customer behavior varies across age, their tenures, and the geographic locations. So, our job is to analyze their customer dataset and design a dashboard that gives us clear and actionable insights. Let us now look at the data set. So this is a data that is stored in the single table, and if you want to understand what all different values that are there in each of the columns, what you can do is you can apply the filters. How can you apply the filters is you have to press the shortcut key called Ctrl Shift L, which is going to apply that filter for entire row. Okay. Now let's try to see what type of data we are having with us. So we are having the customer level information, like we are having the customer ID, their gender, male or female, then their age groups, their marital status, the city to which they belongs, the zip code for the same, latitude, longitude, 10 years that they are particularly enrolled in, then what is the offer, what all different type of services that they are particularly using, their account details, what are the different charges amount, that columns we are having with us. Also we have the very important columns at the end of this data set, which are the churn details. So these three columns are very important for our analysis purpose, particularly this option or this column called as a customer status. So this column is having three different values: churned, joined, or the state. So the churn are nothing but the customers who are not using our services any longer, and the joins are the new customers who have currently joined in, and the ones who are using our services though comes under categories called as a state. So this is what the different customer status is, and corresponding churn category and the reason for the churn is present over here. So if that particular customer is a churn, so let me try to filter the data for this status called churn, then only you will be able to see the churn reason and what is the churn category. If that customer is a state or if it is joined, then you will not be able to see that churn category or churn reason is not having any information about the same, because that particular customer is newly joined, either it is using that service. Okay, so that's why you are not able to see the churn reason and the churn category for the same for these two type of the customers who have recently joined and who have stayed. Okay, once you have understood the data, the next step is to clean it, because the data that you might receive might not be always in the cleaned format. So you might have to perform certain data cleaning on top of it. So what is the data cleaning? Let's say certain customers information is getting duplicated, or for some of the customers there is a no customer status assigned to it, or we don't have the names of those customers. So this all topics comes under the data cleaning. So we are going to clean this data, but before that let me clear out this filter. How you will be able to understand the data is filtered over here. On the left side you will be able to see the row colors, row headings are present in the blue color. Also this particular column we have filtered, so we are going to clear the filter from this column. So for that just click on it and click on this icon called clear filter from customer status. Now to go to that or to perform the data cleaning, what you have to do is you have to enable this particular tab called as a data. This particular tab will help you to clean your data with help of Power Query Editor. But if you guys are not able to see the data tab, what you can do is you can enable this tab. This particular tab is usually hidden from ribbon customizations, and because of which you are not able to see it. So the data tab is available in all Excel versions from 2007 onwards. So how can you enable this tab is you can right click on any of the tab that you are currently present in, right click, then click on the customize ribbon option. Then you will be able to get this type of interface. Over here in the right side pane, make sure that you have opened the main tabs option, from which click on this icon called as a data next to this checkbox. So click on this checkbox next to the data and click on OK. And once you have selected it, you'll be able to see the data tab getting appeared over here in the ribbon. Now, once you have enabled the data tab, it's time to clean the data using Power Query Editor. So how can you go to Power Query Editor is, in the data tab, there is this group called transform, get and transform data. So you have to click on this icon called from table or range. So the data that we are having with us, that is stored in a tabular format, although it is not Excel's official table. So what we are going to do is, we are going to convert this range of the cells into a tabular format with help of this icon, with help of this option. So I'm going to click on that from table or range, which is going to redirect me to a new window, which is called as a Power Query Editor. Once I click on OK. So once you click on from table range, you will be able to get this pop-up called create table. It is going to select entire table and it is allowing me to make sure that I am enabling on this checkbox because my table is having the headers in it. Okay, because the first row that is I am having with me, these are my column headers. So I want to treat those first row of my table as a column headers, and because of which I'm going to keep this option as it is, and I'm just going to click on OK. So once you click on OK, you'll be able to see the formatting of that data got changed and you are able to redirect it to a new window, which is a Power Query Editor. So what is a Power Query Editor? So Power Query Editor is a ETL tool. ETL is nothing but extract, transform and load. So it is a ETL tool that is there in your Power BI also, and also it is there in Excel as well. Okay. So in the Power Query Editor, it is a powerful editor where you will be able to transform or you'll be able to change your queries or you'll be able to change your tables. How? With help of different options that are there in the different tabs. What all different things that you can do in a Power Query editor? So you can replace null values, you can standardize the column names, you can fix the type of data present in that column names, you can remove the duplicate values. Okay, so these are the different tasks that you can perform in Power Query editor. Now once you are here, what you have to do is you have to check the quality of each and every column, whether the column is having the 100% valid records or not. So how you will be able to come to that point, how you'll be able to come to that conclusion? So for that, what you have to do is you have to go to the view tab and here you have to turn on this option called column quality. This, if you turn on this option, you will be able to understand how many percentage of valid, error and empty records are there in each and every column. Okay, so currently I'm having 37 columns with me, and if you carefully observe, this data is already clean, this data is already clean, it does not require data cleaning as of now because all records are valid only. If you see the customer ID is a column, it is having all 100% valid records, there are no error or empty records. If there would have been any blank spaces or any null data was there present over here, or if I don't know what is the ID of that particular customer, if that was not there, then you will be able to see the percentage contribution of the same. But as of now, this column is having 100% valid records only. So I'm going to check it for other columns as well. And if you carefully observe, this data is already clean and all the columns are having 100% valid records only. So but you have to follow this particular step to understand which column is having valid records and which column is not having that valid records. Okay, so as of now this data is already clean. As I'm able to see, there are all columns are having 100% valid records only. And once you have checked that, you have to check for the data type of each and every column. So what is the meaning of data type? So each and every column is having particular type of data stored in it. So if you carefully observe, this is a gender column. This gender column is only having two values in it, male and female. How you will be able to understand those two values? If you click on this icon next to the column name, you will be able to understand there are two values in it, and these two values are present in the textual format, that is they are present in the categorical format, and that's why the data type of this particular column is a text, that is the text. These are the different data types that are present. You will be able to see the numeric type of data and their corresponding data types present over here. Data types related to date and time are mentioned over here, If your data is having the textual type of data in it or the characters data in it, then you can select the data type of that column as a text. If your column is having the true false values, then you can select its data type as a boolean, or you can select it as a true false. And then there is a last data type which is a binary. So these are the different data types that your column can have, and at a time column can have only a single data type. So Power Query has automatically detected the data type of each and every column, and now we are good to go to create the project based on this data. What you have to do over here is, once you have checked your data, you have to rename this particular column. I'm going to rename it as a customer churn data. And once that is done, I am going to click on the option called close and load to. Close and load to. And here I am going to select only create a connection and add this data to the data model. And I am going to click on OK. Here you will be able to see that table name called customer churn data that we have renamed. And now once you have loaded the data, now it's time to focus on key metrics, and for that you have to enable Power Pivot tab. The Power Pivot tab is available in all Excel versions from 2013 onwards as a built-in. If you are not able to see this tab, what you can do, you can right click on your ribbon, click on customize the ribbon option. You can go to the add-ins. From here you have to select the option called com add-ins, and you can click on OK. From here, you have to check on this icon called Microsoft Power Pivot for Excel. Once you have checked on that, just click on OK, and you will be able to see that Power Pivot tab option is getting appeared over here. Right? Now what we are going to do is, we are going to create a pivot table based on our data model. I am going to go to the Insert tab. From here, I am going to select on From Data Model, and I'm going to add it in a new worksheet. Let me click on OK. So once you click on that, you will be able to see a pivot table one got created over here. Now what is a pivot table? So pivot table is a data summarization tool that is present in your Excel, which will help you to quickly summarize your data by just dragging and dropping fields into these different fields or different sections that are available over here, right? So what we are going to do now is, we are going to create certain key matrices. Let's say I want to find out how many total customers are there who are using my service, or how many customers are staying with me, how many customers have newly joined, how many customers are churned. So I want to have a total count of all the different type of customers. Doesn't matter to which category they belong, what is their status. I just want to find out how many different customers are there. So to find out that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to the Power Pivot tab, which is allowing me to create the measures. But wait, what are the measures? Measures are the dynamic calculations that are going to help you to get insights from the data by using a spatial language called as a DAX. What is DAX? DAX stands for Data Analysis Expression, which is a formula based language which will help you to get more insights about the data just by writing different formulas, just by writing different functions that are present in it. How can you create a measure is, you have to be present in the Power Pivot, click on this icon, click on the new measure. Here type down the name of the measure that you want to create. So in this particular table, I am going to create a measure of total customers. I am going to calculate how many total customers I am having with me. I am going to type down the name to this measure. And how can you find out how many total customers are there? For that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to type down the formula over here in this blank section. How can you calculate the total customers? Is the customers based on this customer ID column in your data set. Whatever the different values of customers ID you are having, those are your different customers, right? So for that, I'm going to use the distinct count function that is already there in your DAX. I'm going to select it using the tab key. You don't have to type it down manually. It is going to give you the suggestions. Now, on which particular column you want to count the distinct values, you have to pass it over here. I want to count the distinct values of customer ID column from my customer churn data table. I'm going to select that particular column of the table by using the arrow keys, and then I'm going to select it over here with help of tab key. I'm going to close the parenthesis of this function. Once you have typed down the formula, you can check whether you have written the correct formula or not by clicking on this icon called check formula. If there are any errors, then it is going to guide you for the same. If there are no errors, it is going to give you the green signal. Now what you can do is, this particular total customers, I want to categorize it into a numeric format. I'm going to select the number category over here, and it is present in the whole numbers. Obviously total customers cannot be there in the decimal format. I'm going to select a whole number, and I'm also want to find out the I also want to add the thousand separator for the same. I'm going to click on OK, and as soon you click on OK, you will be able to see a pivot table is having that total number of customers count. So we are having 7043 total customers data with us. Okay, so this is what the first key metric that we have created. Now also let's try to find out of all these 7043 customers, how many customers are leaving our services. How can you find it? If you go to the data tab, and if you apply the filter on a column of a customer status, let's say I want to find out how many customers are churned, so I'm going to filter for that particular value. And if you try to find out how many different customers are there for this particular column, how can you find it out? Is control shift down arrow key, it is going to select all those, and you will be able to understand how many customers are there out of total customers. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cross down that query settings ka pane. At the bottom, you will be able to see how many customers are there who are churned out of 7043 customers. So this is what the count that we are expecting of total churn, because these are the customers who are not using our service. They are leaving. Okay, they have left our services. So I want that particular count. How can you get? How can you replicate this behavior that you have filtered over here? First of all, I'm going to remove this. I'm going to clear the filter from this table, and let's try to create the measure for the same. So for that, again, I'm going to go to the sheet one. Here, let us try to create a measure for the same. So I'm going to copy this thing, Control C. I'm going to paste it over a new line, and here I'm going to find out how can you find out total churned customer out of total customers. For that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to the key measures again. I'm going to create a new measure. Here you have to type down the name of that measure. I want to find out total churned customers. So the name of the measure that I'm going to give is a total churn. What should be the formula for the same? So to get that 1869 value of the total churn customer out of the 7043 customers, I'm going to use the calculate function, which is a very powerful function and most respected function in a DAX family. To calculate, I'm going to select, it is asking me to pass down the two values to it. What value I want to calculate? I want to calculate how many total customers are there. So I have selected that, the measure that I have created. Also, what is your filter condition? For which condition you want to count the total customers? I want to count only those customers whose status is exactly equal to churn. And once you have written that, you have to close the parenthesis for the calculate function. So what we are trying to achieve over here is, we are just trying to calculate only those total customers, or only those customers whose status is assigned to churn. Now I'm going to format it into a whole number, and then I'm going to add it as a use a thousand separator, and let me click on OK. So once you click on OK, here on the right side you will be able to see both counts, total customers and total churn. Now here I don't want the total customers because it is already there. I'm going to remove that value of total customer. You can drag it outside, and you will be able to see what is the count of total customers, and how many out of all these customers, how many customers are leaving our services, or they are not using our services. Now, based on these two values, I can also find out what percentage of customers are leaving, right? So that value will be called as a churn rate. Okay. How can you calculate the churn rate? If you divide this value with this value, you will be able to get the churn rate. How can you calculate this? First of all, I'm going to copy this particular thing, or you can copy this pivot table as well. You can create the pivot table as many as you want, but I don't want to create it by going to this each and every time to the insert tab, pivot table from data model. I don't want to repeat that step, and that's why I'm copy pasting the pivot tables. And if you want to get rid of this dancing links, you can click on the escape key of your laptop. Now here I want to find out the churn rate. How can you calculate the churn rate? Is for that you have to write another calculation. Again, I'm going to go to the measures, new measures. Here, what should be the name of measure? I'm going to type it down. as a churn rate. Here you have to type down the formula for the same. So how can you compute the churn rate is you have to divide this total churn by total number of customers that you are having with you. So if you divide your total churn with the total customers, you will be able to get what is the churn rate, what is the percentage of the customers that are leaving. I am going to select on the number option, and it is not a decimal number, rather it is a percentage. I am going to select percentage, and I want to have the two decimal places after that value. You can adjust it over here if you just want 1%, one decimal point after the percentage, so you can adjust it over here. And let me click on OK. So once you click on OK, here you will be able to understand what is the churn rate. So if you divide 1869 by this value, you will be able to get 26.54 that you have got over here. Now I'm going to remove this value of total churn, and we have got this particular three KPIs, or you can say key matrices, which are giving me an idea how many total customers of data I'm having with me. Out of those customers, how many customers are churned and what is the churn rate. Now we have found out of these customers how many customers are leaving our services, but how many customers have newly joined. I want to find out that count as well. So to find out that count, you can do is you can filter on this column. You can see, you can select only option called as a join, and this particular table will be going to get only filtered for that value. And if you count it, there are 453 customers who have newly joined. So I want this value 453. How can I get that? Again, I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go to the pivot measure option, new measure. I'm going to create a measure for the same. What should be the name of my measure? The name of my measure should be the new joiners. And how can you calculate the new joiners is by using the calculate function. Again, what I want to calculate, I want to calculate the total customers, and I want to only calculate those customers whose status is equal to joined. I'm going to select that column, and I'm going to type down the value of it as a joined. And you have to close the parenthesis of the calculate function. So here what we are trying to achieve is we are trying to count the total number of customers whose status is assigned to the joined value, and it should be in the number format. It should be in the thousand separator, and also I want to have it as a whole number. And now let me click on OK, and here you will be able to see along with the churn rate you are able to see the same exact count that we have derived over here. So now we have calculated the key matrices that were required for our dashboard, and now let us focus on what all different charts or what all different insights that you can get by creating the pivot tables by dragging different fields that are present in the data. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the pivot table again one more time. I don't want to repeat the step of going to the insert tab from data model, and that's why I'm copy pasting. And if you want to get rid of these lines or dancing lines, you can press the escape key from the laptop. Now from this churn rate, from this particular pivot table, I'm going to remove that value of new joiners, and in this next pivot table I'm going to remove the churn rate, and so that I will be able to see all the different key matrices that we have computed till now. Now let's try to focus on the data that you are having with you. Let's try to filter these results. So how can you filter this result is go to this icon, clear filter from customer status. Now here let's try to copy paste this pivot table one more time, and let's try to understand what all other things that you can pass, or what all other values on which you can create the pivot table. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this value, and it is going to give you the pivot table placeholder where you can drag down different fields from your data model, and you will be able to create a pivot table. I want to create a pivot table to identify how many total churn is happening based on the different churn category. I want to find out that particular thing. I want to see its summarization based on the different churn categories. What is the total churn that is happening? I want to find it out. So for that, what I can do is I can go to the active here, so that you will be only able to see the table that is there in the data model. If you go to the all, you will be able to see both the tables. So I just want to see the table which is active, so that I will be focused on this table only. From this, I am going to select the total churn, that particular measure you will be able to see at the top. We have already calculated that measure. These are the measures that we have computed, and these are the normal columns of your table. I'm going to select the total churn and I'm going to drag it on the values. Then you will be able to understand what are my total churn. But I want to see this total churn by the churn category. For that, I'm going to drag this churn category into the rows, and here you will be able to understand what is the total churn by the churn category. Here I'm going to, let's say, rename it. Instead of row labels, I want to rename it as a churn category. And here you will be able to understand that this is the category, what was the churn category, and how many customers are churned because of that. Okay, let's say I want to sort this value in a descending order. What I can do is I can go to this icon and I can click on sort, more sort options. Click on this icon option called descending Z to A, and how I want to sort it, I want to sort this particular column based on the total churn. Let's click on OK, and the category because of which the customers are leaving the most, that category you will be appear, that category you will be able to see at the top. So you have understood that competitor, because of the other competitors, the customers are churning. They are not using our services, they are leaving our services. So that is the insight that you are getting from this particular pivot table. Again, I'm going to copy this pivot table and let's try to see, let's try to create another pivot table. Now pivot table to identify the churn rate based on the internet type. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this total churn. I'm going to add the churn rate that we have calculated into the values section. And instead of churn category, because I want to see the distribution of the internet type. So I am going to remove this churn category, and let's try to add the internet type column that is there in your data. Otherwise, you can search it also over here and drag it on the rows. So whatever that you are trying to add on the rows, you will be able to see in the horizontal format. If you want to add it on the columns, then it will be available in the vertical columnar format. Here I am able to see the total churn rate based on the internet type. So here I am going to rename it as a internet type, and again let's try to see which internet type is having maximum churn rate. Again I'm going to sort it. If you click on this icon, just select this, click on this icon, and what I want to do is I want to sort it. Click on more sort options. I want to sort this values but based on the churn rate in the descending order. You can sort it in ascending order as well, but in that case you will be able to see the category or the type which is having the least churn rate. So this is how I have created the second pivot table as well. Again, I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it over here. And for this particular pivot table, what is my focus is, I want to identify the churn rate based on the contract type. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this uh, internet type from the rows, and instead of that I'm going to add the contract type. If you're not able to find it out over here, you can search it in the search bar as well, and then you'll be able to add it on the right side in the row section. If you add it on the columns, then you will be able to see in the columnar format, but I want to see it in the rows format, one after another. That's why I'm adding it into the rows. So here I'm able to understand that month to month, this is the contract type for which the maximum customers are leaving. So let's try to rename this header as well. So that is nothing but the contract type. And here you are able to get that insight based on this pivot table. Now also let's try to create a pivot table to understand which age groups persons are leaving our services. Okay. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a pivot table which will show me the churn rate along with the total churn, along with the total number of customers who are churning. But I want to see it not for the contact, but I want to see it, let's say, for the age group. So you can search for that column over here. Otherwise, you can type it down, the value that you want to search, the name of the column that you want to search. I'm going to add it on the rows. Here you are able to understand that this is the age group, this is the churn rate for that age group, and the total number of customers that are churning. If you want to rearrange this order, what you can do is you can place it after total churn, so the order will be getting different. I don't want to sort it. I want to have it in this format only, which I've already sorted the ages. So let's try to rename this to age group. And once you have analyzed what is the distribution of the churn rate based on the different age groups, which age groups persons are not using your services. So that is the above 60 age group, that contribution or their churn rate is much higher. So again I'm going to copy it, and let's try to create another pivot table to understand, to identify this same value of the total churn and churn rate, but not by the age group, but with the help of tenure. So I'm going to select that tenure group and I'm going to add it in the rows. And instead of tenure in months, what I'm going to add is I'm going to add the tenure group, because that is already column that we were having with us called tenure group. If you add the tenure, then it is having the numerical data. If you go to the data, and here you will be able to see that column of tenure, and that tenure column is having just a number, but we also have this column called tenure group. So let's try to focus on that. So that's why I've added the tenure group instead of tenure. Instead of the age group, I want to call it as a tenure group, because these are not the ages, these are the tenures. These are the tenure groups. So here, what insight that you can get is what, from which particular category of the customers, which the customers who are there from the 0 to 6 months tenure, they are leaving the services. Okay, so that is the insight that I'm getting from this particular pivot chart. Also, I'm going to copy it pivot table one more time, and I'm going to create another pivot table, and which is going to show me the distribution of the total churn based on the different cities. For that, I'm going to remove the churn rate column, and instead of tenure group, I'm going to add the city column. And I just want to see the top cities where the tenure, where the churn rate is very higher, or most number of customers are leaving. I'm going to type down the name for that as a city, and let's try to sort this value. And which are the top 15 cities where the churn rate, or where the total number of customers who are churning is much higher. I want to focus on those cities. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on the value filters, and I'm going to click on top 10, and I want to see the top 15, not the top 10. I want to see the top 15 cities, top 15 cities, but with which value? By total churn, and I'm going to click on OK. And here you will be able to see that values. These are the top 15 cities where the churn rate is higher, or where the total number of customers who are churning are higher. Also, if you want to sort it, you can sort it. I'm going to click on more sort option, descending, and I want to sort it not by city, I want to sort it by total number of customers who are churning. So San Diego is a city where the majority of the customers are living, where the customer churn is higher. Now we have created the pivot tables, and now it's time to bring all this everything into a life by creating a dashboard on top of it. So I'm going to rename this sheet as a pivots, and on a new sheet we are going to create the dashboard. So I'm going to add a new worksheet, and here I'm going to rename it as a dashboard. So let's focus on how can you create a dashboard. So for that, I'm going to add the name of my dashboard. For that, I'm going to go to the insert tab. In the illustration, there is option of shapes. If you click on this text area, it is going to allow you to insert the text box. So I'm going to type it down. Here I'm going to mention the name of our project, which is a telecom customer churn analysis. You can select it everything by pressing Ctrl A, and you can change its font size over here, and also if you want to align it to the center, you can add it like this. That's the only thing that I'm going to do over here, and if you want to make it bold, you can press Ctrl B. Now what you can do is, if you want to change the color, background color of the same, again you can go to the shape format, you can go to the shape field, and you can select whichever color that you want to have. So let me select this particular color, and you can have choice of which color you want to select. You just have to go to the shape field. If you don't want to see any outline for this particular shape, you can go to the shape format, go to the shape outline, and click on no outline. Now this is the header or the title of the project that I've added at the top. The next thing is to add this key matrices, okay, onto this dashboard. How can you add it? For that, what I'm going to do is, again I'm going to go to the insert, and in this from this I'm going to select the shape option. Here I'm going to type it down, value as a total customers, and once that is done, This is what my total customers is looking like. I'm going to remove the outline. I don't want any outline, and that's it. The only thing that I want to have it over here. Also I want to see that value, right? I also want to see this value 7043. How can you get it over here? For that, again I'm going to add a new shape. So every time you have to select any other cell, then again go to this illustrations and then select the proper text area or the text box from which, and here you don't have to type down anything over here. You have to go to the formula bar, press equal to sign, go to the pivots sheet and select this value and hit enter key. Then you will be able to get this value which is there of total customers count. If you guys are getting any error, what you can do is you can go to the pivots, select this pivot table, go to pivot table analyze, click on this drop down, and here you will be able to get, inside this drop down you will be able to get this option called generate get pivot data. If you uncheck this, then you will not be getting any error. If you're getting an error, please make sure that you have not checked on this option, otherwise you will be getting an error. Now once I have added this, I'm going to format it. How can you format it is, I'm just going to increase its font size. I'm going to make it bold by pressing Ctrl B. Let's try to align it to the center, and this is how I have added this KPI or the key metric on my dashboard. I'm going to remove the outline from this. You can go to the shape outline and add, click on no outline. Put it on the right side, and I want to have this copy pasted for the 3 or 2 more time. Here I'm going to add that values. Instead of total customers, the name of this thing would be total churn. And here instead of total customers, the name would be churn rate. And here the name of that would be new joiners. So these are my KPIs that I've added at the top. And also you can add the other text boxes as well. So again I'm going to copy it and paste it. So this is the value for the total churn. This is the value, the area for inserting the new joiners, and the churn rate. Now instead of these values, I want the actual values for that. To replace remove everything, again going to the pivots table. This is the total churn that I am having, and hit enter key. Then you will be able to see that value. Same goes for the churn rate as well. Remove everything, equal to, go to the pivots table, select the churn rate, hit on the enter key. You will be able to see the churn rate. Same for new joiners as well. Just press equal to sign, go to the pivots table and select which value you want to have it in that key metric or the KPI. Now once you have added everything, you just have to copy the formatting of this value to the other remaining key metrics as well. For that you can go to the home tab, select this one, click on format painter and click everywhere where you want to copy the formatting. Same goes for this as well. Here you are not able to see the percentage, so just try to change the width of that column. Now here we have added all the KPIs at the top. The next part is to add the different charts. How can you create a chart is based on the pivot tables that we have created. So we are going to create the horizontal bar chart for this particular thing, for this pivot table, to understand the churn category by the total number of customers who are churning. I'm going to select this particular region, go to the insert, or you can go to the pivot table analyze option as well. Click on pivot chart. Now it is suggesting you the clustered column chart, but I want to have the bar chart for the same. So I'm going to select the bar chart and then I'm going to click on the OK. And here you will be able to see the bar chart is getting created. Now I don't want to have this bar chart in this pivots sheet. I'm going to press Ctrl X, which is going to remove that chart from this sheet. I want to have it over here. I'm going to paste it over here. So here you will be able to see the horizontal bar chart in front of you to understand the total churn by the churn category. So here I'm going to rename that particular title. I'm going to change the title for this chart as a total churn by churn category. Once that is done, you have to create the chart for the other pivot table as well. So for this distribution of the churn rate by the internet type, I'm going to create a pie chart for the same, or you can create a donut chart as well, because I want to see the percentage contribution of each and every internet type. So I'm going to select it. Again, go to pivot table analyze, click on pivot chart. Here select a proper chart. Let's say pie chart, or let's say you want to have the donut chart, then you can select the donut chart. Okay. Then for this case, I want a pie chart. If you want donut chart, what you can do on the right side, there is this donut chart. So let's select donut chart and let me click on OK. Here you will be able to see the donut chart getting added, but I don't want to have it in this sheet. I'm going to press Ctrl X. I'm going to go to the dashboard and here I'm going to paste it. And you just have to rearrange it as per your requirement. So instantly I'm giving the names to these charts as well for understanding purpose. So this is a churn rate by the internet type. Also, I want to create another chart which is also showing the percentage distribution but based on the contract type. Again, I'm going to select it, pivot table analyze, go to pivot chart, and from that select on the pie chart. On right side you will be able to see the column donut chart option. Click on that, click on OK. Just remove this from this sheet, Control X press karo, press Control X and paste it over here and just rename it. Try to change it, try to resize it, and also try to rename this thing as well. So I'm going to rename it as a churn rate by contract type. So three charts I have added on the on this particular sheet, and the next chart that we are going to create is for the remaining pivots table. So for this particular thing of the distribution of the age groups by the total churn and churn rate, for this I'm going to create a combo chart. I'm going to select it, pivot table analyze, then click on the pivot chart option. Here at the bottom you will be able to see this option called combo chart. If you observe over here, the total churn and churn rate both are having the different magnitudes, and that's why both are overlapping over here, but I don't want to have it like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this checkbox called as for the churn rate. I want to see it in a form of a line, and that should be my secondary axis. So when it was not there, everything was there on a single axis only, but I want to have this values added on the other axis. That's why I'm going to click on this secondary axis. As soon as I click on that, you will be able to see the churn rate percentage on the right side and the total churn values on the left side. Now let me click on OK, and this chart got created. Now I'm going to Control X. I'm going to cut it from this pivots sheet. I'm going to paste it over here, and here I'm going to arrange it, and I'm going to add the title to it. Let's try to add a title. You can click on the plus icon and click on this icon called chart title. Here you will be able to add the title to this chart. I'm going to type down the chart title as a total churn and churn rate by age group, right? These are the ages by age group. Also, we are going to create one more chart, the same combo chart for the 10-year groups as well. I'm going to select it. Again, go to pivot table analyze, select on pivot chart option. From this, select the combo chart. Make sure that you are clicking on the secondary axis for the churn rate. Otherwise, you will be able to see both the values on a same axis only. But I don't want to have it like that. So that's why I've added the combo chart, and that's why I've selected this churn rate to be displayed in a form of a line, and that too on a secondary axis. Let me click on OK, and here you'll be able to see that chart. Again, I'm going to cut that visual from this page. I'm going to paste it over here, and here you will be able to see that graph as well. So I'm going to add the title to it. If you can click on plus, and you can click on the chart title. Here I'm going to name the title to the chart as a total churn and churn rate by 10-year group. Once that is done, we are also left out with one more chart, one more pivot table, and for this pivot table I want to create a bar chart. How can you create it? Select everything, go to pivot table analyze, click on pivot chart option, and I don't want to have it a column chart, I want to have the bar chart. I'm going to select it and let's click on OK. I don't want to see it in this sheet. I'm going to cut it, and you can go to the dashboard sheet, and here on the right side I'm going to place it. And also I'm going to give the name to this chart as a top 15 cities by total churn. Now we have added everything into this sheet. Now it's time to decorate it. How can you decorate it? Is the first thing that I'm going to do over here is I'm going to remove this grid lines, and I'm going to remove this headings as well. For that you have to go to the view tab, and you have to uncheck on this grid lines option. You have to uncheck on the headings. If you uncheck this, the headings, the column names and the row numbers will be gone. You will not be able to see it, right? Now let's try to format this particular thing. For that, what I'm going to do is, first of all, let's try to remove this extra fields that are there in the each and every chart types. You are able to see the total churn category, different buttons are there. I don't want to see it because I've added the titles to the chart, right? How can you remove that? So the first thing is to, you can right click and you can click on the hide all field buttons on this chart. You can follow this approach. Otherwise, you can follow the other approach that I'm trying to tell you now. You can select other chart, again go to the pivot table analyze and click on this option called field buttons. So each and every field button that is there on the chart is going to get disappear. Again, I'm going to select it and click on that. For this chart as well, I don't want to see these buttons. I'm going to uncheck it. Again, I'm going to go over here and field buttons. I don't want to see it. For this chart as well, I don't want to see the field buttons. Okay. So this is how I have added this. Other thing that I want to make sure is I don't want to see the grid lines. So if you don't want to see it, what you can do is you can click on this plus icon and uncheck this option called grid lines. I also want to see this total. Same for this chart as well. I don't want to see the grid lines because for the donut charts there won't be any grid line. It will be available for the bar or the column charts only. I don't want to see the grid line, so I'm going to remove it with the help of this icon. And also I don't want to see the total thing. Okay, so here what I have done is, let's try to rearrange this charts as well a bit. Okay, so I've arranged everything over here. Also, let's try to arrange this charts as well. So slowly our dashboard is taking a shape, right? Now, if you carefully observed this order, I want to see this competitor or the category which is having the majority of the total churn, that should be present at the top. The same case should follow for the cities as well. The city which is having the maximum number of customers who are churning, I want to see those cities at the top. How you will be able to customize it? You have to double click on that. Then you have to select the y-axis. Go to this axis options. Last option, go to the axis options. Here select on this option called categories in reverse order, which is going to reverse down the categories, and you will be able to understand the category which is having the majority of the churned customer, that category will be at the top. Now I don't want to see these values at the x-axis, so I'm going to select it and I'm going to press the delete key from my laptop. The same thing I'm going to follow for this chart as well. For that, I'm going to select this axis, go to the last option, expand on axis options, select option called categories in reverse order, and you don't want to see these numbers now. But if you are not able to see what is the total churn count for these cities or for these categories, what you can do, how you'll be able to understand what was the exact number for the same, right? What you can do, you can click on plus icon and turn on this option called data labels. If you turn on that, you'll be able to see the count for the same approach I'm going to follow for this as well. Again, I'm to enable this option called data labels. Now we are able to see all the things that are appearing over here in this dashboard. I'm going to resize this dashboard now. Different things, I'm going to resize it. For that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to have this thing added over here of this particular height, and let's say of this particular width. I want to rename it. I want to change the width of this chart as well. I want to place it over here like this. I want to place it over here like this. The customization of dashboard is completely up to you. You have entire control on how you want to customize your charts. Now again, I'm going to arrange this donut charts as well. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make this chart titles appeared in the black color. So I'm going to go to this, I'm going to select it, and also I'm going to bold it. Control B. Also for these values as well, press Control B, or you can select on this option and click on this icon. Same for the data labels as well. I'm going to change the color of them to black color, and I'm going to bold it. Same for this as well. Control B, change its color to this. Same for this as well. Control B, change its color to black. Same for this chart title as well. Control B and change its chart color to black. Control B and change its chart color to black. You can also use the format painter by the way for this, but I'm going to go with the default option, and the same for this axes as well and the data labels as well. Control B and the color. Now this particular legends that you are able to see, legends are the way to understand what color is indicating which category or which internet type. I'm going to add it on the top. If you want to change the position of them, you can place it anywhere. I'm going to add it on the top. Also, let's try to increase the font size and let's try to make it bold as well. Same thing I'm going to follow for this chart as well. Increase its font size, make it bold, make it black. Also add it on the top. This icon and click on the data labels, then you'll be able to see the data labels or the percentage contributions of the same are getting added. What I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange it slightly above things. You just have to click on that data labels and you'll be able to see the percentage contributions of the same thing I'm going to follow over here. I'm going to click on the data labels. It is going to add the data labels and you just have to drag it wherever you want to see that percentage contribution. You have that entire control. Now what I'm going to do is again I'm going to make them bold and I want to change their color to black. Same case for here as well, for these data labels as well. These are the data labels. Okay, so the way I have added all these things. Now the next thing is let's try to change its color to black. Now the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to add this legends at the top. Same for the way we have added for this donut chart. Also I want to see this legends of the total churn and the churn rate at the top. So I'm going to add it the legend at the top and same goes for this as well, legend at the top. And also you can select this axes, make them bold, change their color, select it, change their color. Okay, select it, control B, change their color. So everything colors is now you are able to see clearly, right? Now the next thing that we are going to do over here is this color is also not in the black, right? So we have changed the colors of each and every titles and legends. You are able to understand which color is indicating what part. And half of our dashboard is completed. But if you carefully observe, this dashboard is a static one. It is not interactive. You are not able to interact with this dashboard. How you will be able to make the changes? How you will be able to see all these charts getting reflected only for a specific gender, let's say. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the slicers to this particular chart. What different slicers you can add? So I'm going to add the slicer for the gender and for the marital status. For that I'm going to go to the pivot table. You can select any of the pivot table, go to the pivot table design, pivot table analyze, click on the insert slicer option, and I want the slicers to be added for the gender and also for the marital status. You can add the slicers for other categorical data as well. As of now I just want these two slicers, so I'm going to rearrange it like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove it from this place. I'm going to add it over here on my dashboard page. Here you will be able to see it. I want to place it over here, and then you can rearrange it the way you want to have it displayed. You can rearrange it. Let me try to insert. Let me try to first of all add the headings so that I will be able to add a new row. And here let's try to place it over here. You have an entire control how you want to customize this thing. That is completely up to you. You have that control. You just have to focus on the beautification part of this particular dashboard that we are currently creating and beautify. So it is going to span entire thing. And still if I select on any of the gender, this particular only few of the charts are getting changed. Okay, I'm not able to see the total customers, total churn rate and the new joiners values getting updated. Why it is so? Because this particular slicers, they are connected to this chart only. If you select yes, only this chart is getting reflected, not the other charts. It is because these slicers are connected with this chart only, because based on this chart only we have created those slicers. But I want to have this action applicable for each and every other charts, each and every key metrics that I have created. How you can do that part? You have to select the slicer, go to the slicer tab, which is a contextual tab, go to the report connections and click on the every pivot table that you are able to see on your screen. You can expand it like this and you can select each and every pivot table, because I want to have that interactivity of the slicer with the each and every pivot table which I have created. That's why I'm doing this particular thing. Same thing I'm going to repeat for the married slicer as well. Go to slicer, go to report connection. This particular slicer was only connected to this particular pivot table, and because of which that pivot table is only showing you the interactivity, not the other pivot tables. But you have now understood how can you make your dashboard interactive by adding the slicers and by connecting it to the other pivot tables as well. Now if I select any particular gender, you can see each and every chart that is present over here is reflecting the same. Okay, let me cross it out and let's try to see. Let's say for the married persons, what's the status of a dashboard is looking like. So you are clearly able to understand what story that this dashboard is trying to give you. And slicers, and this is how we have created this interactive dashboard. If I click on female, then you are able to see all the charts are getting filtered for the female gender. If I click on the married, no, then only female and only those females who are not married. How many customers are there, how many out of those, how many have churn, what is the churn rate, how many of new female non-married females have joined. I'm able to quickly understand what this data is trying to tell me by creating this simple dashboard. That is what the advantages of the dashboards are. If you want to change the colors of this particular dashboard, what you can do, you can go to the page layout and there is this option called colors drop down. You can select any of the color of your choice and the pivot all the different dashboard that you have created, each and every color from that is going to get changed. You can select any one of the theme that you would like to have, and based on that theme entire dashboard formatting is going to get changed. So let's say I'm going to select this theme, or let's say I'm going to go with the theme of green color, which is, and another beautifications that you can perform over here is you can add the lines over here in this. So let me try to add the line in between these two, and you can change its width as well. You can change its color as well the way you want. I'm going to copy it and let's try to paste it over here as well in between this, and let's try to paste it over here as well. So this is how I have created a dashboard in Excel. Now let's test this dashboard. If I filter only female customers, each and every chart, each and every key metrics that you have created is getting filtered for the same, right? If I filtered for the married woman, then I'm only able to see the data for the same. And with that, we have completed our end-to-end telecom customer churn dashboard in Excel. We explored the dataset, cleaned and prepared it in a Power Query. We built key measures. Also, we have transformed everything into a fully interactive, insight-driven dashboard. Thank you for watching till here, and I will see you in the next one.